First Lady Betty Ford has begun the journey to her final resting place. Dignitaries crossed party lines, sitting together to mourn a woman known for her circle of bipartisan friends.
KTLA's Brandi Hitt is live at St. Margaret's Episcopal Church in Palm Desert, the site of today's National Tribute Service. Brandi?
Hi, Sharon, Micah. The private service is now over. The public is getting its chance now to say its final farewell to former First Lady Betty Ford. You can see over my shoulder, that is the entrance to the church. The reason there's no line outside is because they're shuttling the public in. But throughout the night, hundreds will continue to gather in her honor.
Amazing grace.
Honoring Betty Ford's life and legacy, hundreds packed St. Margaret's Episcopal Church in Palm Desert.
She extended herself freely in love and compassion to so many.
Among the guests were First Lady Michelle Obama, Nancy Reagan, Hillary Clinton, George W. Bush, and Rosalind Carter.
She was never afraid to speak the truth, even about the most sensitive subjects. She got some criticisms. I thought she was wonderful.
A social pioneer who spoke openly about sex, Betty Ford also inspired millions around the world with her courage and personal triumph over addiction.
My addiction was a combination of alcohol and the prescription drugs.
She became the face of recovery, creating the Betty Ford Center, helping thousands battle their addictions.
We got to know you as Betty. We saw you in the rooms, and we could relate to that, Betty. We felt close to you. Godspeed, Betty. Godspeed.
At 93, Betty Ford passed away last week. Her service in the same church where President Gerald Ford was eulogized in 2006. Their son mentioned a telegram that was found Gerald had sent to Betty decades ago, and it was fitting for this very moment.
He writes in the telegram, "Miss you, Betty. Wish you were here. Loads of love, Jerry."
That moment got you choked up a little bit. There was also kind of a funny moment, a serious note as well. Throughout the service, it kept being brought up that Betty Ford insisted that her eulogy be a message to Washington, D.C. She says that when she was First Lady a long time ago, there was actually bipartisanship. It existed in Washington, D.C., and not this constant bickering and fighting that we see today in our nation's capital. Tomorrow, Betty Ford's body will be brought to the airport here, and then it will be flown to Grand Rapids, Michigan, and that will be her final resting place next to Gerald Ford. Reporting live in Palm Desert, Brandi Hitt, KTLA 5 News. Back to you in the studio.
Brandi, thank you. A victory.
She was just Betty, and she was never afraid to speak the truth.
Family members and dignitaries remember former First Lady Betty Ford, and tonight ordinary admirers have also gathered in Palm Desert to say goodbye.
KTLA's Brandi Hitt is live at St. Margaret's Episcopal Church with more on the tributes to Mrs. Ford. Brandi?
Micah and Cher, courageous, tireless, and brave. Those were the words used today to describe former First Lady Betty Ford. And as you can see, hundreds continue to gather here at the church to say their final farewell.
Amazing grace.
Honoring former First Lady Betty Ford's life and legacy, hundreds filed into St. Margaret's Episcopal Church in Palm Desert.
She extended herself freely in love and compassion to so many.
Former President George Bush, First Lady Michelle Obama, and several former First Ladies were among the private ceremony guests.
She was never afraid to speak the truth, even about the most sensitive subjects.
A social pioneer, Betty Ford inspired millions around the world with her courage and personal triumph over addiction.
My addiction was a combination of alcohol and the prescription drugs.
She became the face of recovery, creating the Betty Ford Center that has helped thousands, including many who've come to the public viewing to say goodbye.
Betty Ford changed my life. I went there in 2004, and I've been clean ever since.
She may go down as one of the great, if not the greatest, First Ladies of the 20th century.
Godspeed, Betty. Godspeed.
Betty Ford's service was in the same church where President Gerald Ford was eulogized in 2006, and she instructed her eulogy remind everyone that bipartisanship once existed in Washington, D.C.
I wouldn't be at all surprised if she timed her death to make sure that she could convey the message of comity during this week when it seems so badly needed.
There were laughs and tears. The couple's son read a message Gerald sent to Betty decades ago, fitting for this very moment.
He writes in the telegram, "Miss you, Betty. Wish you were here. Loads of love, Jerry."
This public viewing will continue until midnight, and then tomorrow morning, Betty Ford's body will be flown here from Palm Desert all the way back to Grand Rapids, Michigan, where she will be buried with Gerald Ford. Live in Palm Desert, Brandi Hitt, KTLA 5 News. Back to you in the studio.
All right, Brandi, thank you.